adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. Never been a rat, but I know where the cheese at. You'll never get a trophy cause they all here where we at. You better believe that. When it's all said and done, I'll still be here standing. Never took a loss and it ain't something that I'm planning. I dare you to say something, my focus is A1. Every dog has its day, it's been mine since day one. This is real grinding, I'm still climbing. While you still trying, I'm still shining. It's real blinding, and I'm getting hotter too. Talking top 2, I'm not a 2. You let the pressure bother you and I do what I gotta do. Let's go hard.
They ain't coming close to me. Flow is on atomic, I'm starting fires through poetry. The hardest out, staying loyal, no falling out. And if you step into the court, be ready, we ballin' out. Yeah, the coldest of teens, they know what we bring, don't try us. They know in between, we go for these dreams in silence. Hard work, don't mistake it for magic. We been shooting in the gym, this is target and practice. Yeah. And I'm just getting started, get my feet wet. It's all in repetition, ain't a secret. All facts, all black dress code. Pay me my respect, collecting every debt.
I go the hardest, I bring the pain. Not what you used to, it's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard, go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. Yeah, oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. I still be here standing. Never took a loss and it ain't something that I'm planning. I dare you to say something, my focus is A1. Every dog has its day, it's been mine since day one. This is real grinding, I'm still climbing. While you still
Hey you guys, how are we today? Hold on, let me get this light to working right. Hold up. All right, we got the lights. All right, how are we today? Can you guys hear me today? Hey y'all. Hey. Hold on, let me move this light. Can you guys hear me? Hey y'all. Hey, Millie. Hey, Deborah. Hey, Rebecca. Good evening. All right. Good. All good here. Okay, y'all can hear me. All right, so we have Rebecca from South Florida. Welcome. Hey, Mo. So you guys listen, it's been an amazing time over here. Yeah, not really. So today we are doing cut and measure. Okay, yes. Okay, Dallas is in the house tonight. All right. Is my food here yet? No, not yet. Okay. It's cold everywhere. I'm not going to even talk about how cold it is right now. It is 66 degrees. It warmed up a little bit today. So, but it's still cold. I'm freezing, y'all. But if you guys notice, I have my jacket right behind me. So if I get cold, I'm going to throw on my jacket. So I'm just giving y'all a heads up. So today we are going to talk about measure and cutting. And I have my tape measure. Hold on. All right. All right, so we're going to be measuring our bodies today. And then we're going to take our measurement and transfer those to our pattern. Now, this is one of the things that you guys always ask me, like, Rochelle, how do you know what size to cut on the pattern? How do you take your measurements? And how do you, outside of how do you know what size to cut, how do you kind of size up a pattern? How do you size down a pattern? Now, here's the thing. Because I lost weight and because I am not going to tape off, the pattern that I'm using is, of course, yeah. So I have to do that. So what I am going to do is a mock-up muslin, toile, whatever you want to call it. I will be doing on mine. You were doing the pizza. I knew pizza was here and I didn't even know. Mo, you noticed that the pizza man was here too? All right, y'all know I have pizza waiting for me after this live. It was supposed to be here before, but I had some things that I had to do before. And oh, just so you guys know, there will not be a live next week. I know you guys are going to miss me, but I will have next week and the week after in one. Next week will be pattern measurement and muslin. So I'm going to do both of those together in one because I will not be here next week. I'll be out of town. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into today's live, which is cut and measure. So let me share my screen with you guys. If I remember how to do everything. It's only been just a week, right? I make it seem like, there we go. All right, there we go. It should be in big screen now. Can everybody see? Had to make sure that he's not doing a pizza den with Tommy. Hey, Lady Angel. Millie, I have a microwave. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right, so. Okay, everybody can see. Everybody can see. Great. All right. And you guys, look, I don't like cold pizza, but I am going to warm my pizza up. Plus, I got some other stuff that I'm going to be doing later on tonight anyway. Plus, my husband's playing with his friends anyway, so he's going to be playing until 11 o'clock. So it is what it is. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So today is cut and measure, or measure and cut. We're going to measure our bodies, then you're going to cut your pattern out. If you did not read your instructions, I advise you to go ahead and do that. If you have not, this is the time where if you did not cut out your pattern last week, you will need to cut out your pattern this week, and you will also need to measure your body. Now, I will say this, measure your body first before you cut your pattern out. Now, I am going to measure my body on camera for you guys, which I'm going to tell you, I do not have the right clothes on, and I'll stand up so you guys can see. I do not have the right, and I'm going to, hold on a second. I do not have the right garments on that I would normally show you guys to measure, but I just got home like about an hour ago. I was across town and came on back real quick, not to be late for this live, okay? So I do not have my undergarments on not like that, but I don't have what I would normally do to take my measurements, but I'm just gonna show you guys on screen fully dressed, okay? So everybody said, yes, please eat. We will be here. You know what my husband said? He was like, they'll be all right. Just eat on camera. That's tacky. But I'm going to eat, y'all. Thank you guys for being so lovely. I'm going to eat you guys. But let's get into it. All right. So first things first, measure your body. Okay. So when you measure and cut, you want to measure and cut, and slow sewing is no chaos. Okay. We don't want chaos. And he's right. Y'all are so funny. He's right. He's right. Now, before we touch the scissors, y'all got to remember cutting is permanent. You cannot control Z, which means go backwards or undo. You're not going to be able to undo it. So just know that you need to measure first, double check your measurement, and then you're going to cut. All right. So you're not going to be thinking of it that I measure myself back in 2025 because we're in 2026, right? And I'm probably the same size, so I'm not going to measure again. No, we're not doing that, okay? We're not going to do that. We're not going to think of it that the pattern size back in 2025 is the same because if you guys know that these patterns change, and even though that it may have been the same brand of Butterick size, right? And now they reissued it in the McCall size. They probably got something a little lopsided and mixed up. So you want to measure the pattern, measure your body, and make sure you look at the sizes, okay? Now, just make sure when you measure your body, you want current information, okay? You don't want outdated information from 2 weeks ago. And the reason why I say that is because our body changes every single day. So every time you make a new garment, okay, for the people in the back, every time you make a new garment, you need to be taking new measurements, okay? Now, you could probably possibly say, well, Rochelle, you just made 4 tops. Did you take your new garment measurement every time you made those last 4 tops of the Butterick pattern that you just made? I absolutely did. Even though I made every single top within 2 days apart, did my body measurement change in those 4 days? Not necessarily, but each one, I literally retook my measurement because I knew I was still losing weight in the same token. So I still measured myself. I got food?
You want your food? They told you to eat.
Can I get some food?
Yeah. Sure. They told you to eat. I told you so.
Thank you, babe.
Oh,
All right. All right. Anyway, back to what I was saying until I was really interrupted, but I love you, babe. I love you too. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, can I get some pizza, please? Thank you. I appreciate you. Layla, can I get some pizza, please? Get your daddy, please. No, I want Marco's. Yes, I want Papa John's, please and thank you. Parmesan. Parmesan, yes, please. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I appreciate y'all. All right.
Talking about something rudely interrupted. Rudely get you fed.
Thank you. Really get me fed, y'all. They gave me the whole thing of Parmesan cheese. I appreciate every last one of you guys. They gave me Parmesan cheese. Okay. My people made sure that I am well taken care of during this live. All right. All right, you guys. I'm going to eat in between talking at the same time. I appreciate you guys so much. All right, so back to what I was saying. So just make sure that when you are, what was I saying? About the body measurement, yeah. So when you are doing a new pattern, make sure that you take your body measurements every time you start working on a new project. Do not make sure you have current measurements instead of past due measurements, right? So just make sure you have current measurements every time you start working on a new project, all right? Because y'all know fabric is expensive and we don't want to be a muslin or a mock-up. Now, Rochelle can't stand making a mock-up, a toile, what you guys call it, muslins. I can't stand doing it. But because I do not have Joe to test these scrap fabrics and make it do what it do, okay? So if you have a Walmart and they have $2 fabric, 2 yards of fabric for $2, get it and use it as your test muslin, okay? If you have anything that's on like a quick discount at Walmart or what is it, Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever, that you can use as some scrap fabric, go ahead and get it because why not? Wear it, use it as a wearable muslin, all right? All right. Also, if you measure more than once, yeah, let's do some interactions. If you measure again, or if you do not measure yourself once and you just go with the last, we're not judging you, okay? If you do not measure yourself more than once and you just go with the last measurement from the last time or the last project, go ahead and just say skip over that. Let me see what you do. No judgment zone here. Y'all don't judge other people. What do you normally do? Do you measure yourself more than once? Or do you just go by the last time you measure yourself for every project? Let me know in the chat. And I'll be right back while I go get me something to drink. Be right back.
Some kind of ocean from my eyes, but I got up out of the hopeless. Yeah, I got over you last night. Wasn't it easy to believe I would be broken forever? Thought I would never see the light. You didn't need me, so I went looking for somebody better. Thought I'd be sadder, but I'm fine. Washing my tears away, I watch my heart break, go down the drain. I feel the echo of your touch. I've never been so income.
All right. Got me my lovely H2O here before I die over here. All right, so moving on over to the next one. Did I miss something? No, I didn't miss nothing in the chat. All right, I did mention measure your body. So we don't want to guess. We don't want to use old numbers. If you are doing a top or a dress, you want to take, well, I'm going to say regardless of if you're doing a top, a dress, pair of pants, a coat, whatever. These are the standard measurements that you want to take. You want to take your bust measurement. I always take my bust measurement and my under bust measurement. Your upper and your bust. Sometimes your under bust measurement. So I'm going to move the camera up and down so you can see. Let me move my plate right quick. All right, so just so you see. So one of the measurements that I measure is right underneath. I'm looking at this camera over here. My bust, right? Now, I know my measurement, but I'll tell you guys. All right, right underneath my armpits, right? That measurement is a 41.5, okay? Right underneath my armpit. Now, when I measure my full bust, right? That's right where your apex or your nipples are, right? But make sure you don't have a sports bra on and you actually have a well bra. Now, I have a sports bra on, so it's not going to be the right measurement, but I know I am actually a 43.5. I know that, but I have a sports bra on because I did work out earlier. So with the sports bra, it's going to tell me a 41.5. But if I actually had a regular bra on, it would be a 43.5. So the top is a 41.5. This is a 43.5. So you would ask me, which one would I use? I'm going to use the higher one, which is the 43.5. And the reason why is it's a 2-inch between under bust and a full bust. Why would I use the full bust instead of the under bust? It's because if I was to use the 41.5 instead of the 43, when I go to make a shirt or whatever, it's going to be too tight here in the bust. If I use a 43 when I know my under bust is a 41, it's going to be tight. So it's best to give myself, use the bust measurement, that's the higher number, and give myself like a 45 to a 45.5. That's an 1.5 to 2 inches of ease to give myself room for arm movement and everything else, all right? I hope that made sense. All right, the next measurement is your waist measurement. Now, depending on if you are doing a dress, a shirt, or even shorts, pants, or whatnot. I like to say this if you are doing like bottoms or whatnot. It always talk about waist, right? And most people think when they say waist, they're talking about your natural waist, right? So your natural waist is where that bend. If you bend over to the side, that's your natural waist. All right. So if I bend to the side, my natural waist is right here. Let me scoot back just a little bit. My natural waist is right here. So I know my natural waist is a 32. All right. My natural waist is a 32. Now, am I going to wear my shorts or my pants all the way up here? I'm going to pull my pants all the way up here to my natural waist. Look at where my crotch is. No. It looked like I have a camel toe. No shade. If I wore my pants all the way the heck up here at my natural waist, that's not comfortable to me. So where am I going to wear my pants? I'm going to wear it right here at my belly button. So when I am making pants or shorts or anything, where do I measure at for my waist? I'm going to measure where I am going to wear my waistband. And that majority of the time it's going to be at my belly button. So that waist measurement that I'm going to take is at my belly button, which for me is a 34.5. For you, whatever that measurement may be. Now, just remember, when I did my natural waist, it was a 32. When I did at my belly button, it's a 34.5. That's a 2.5-inch difference, okay? So, which measurement am I going to use? I'm going to use the one at my belly button because that's where I wear my shorts and my pants. So that's what I use compared to my natural waist. Now, if I was going to be wearing my shorts or my pants at my natural waist, that's what I would use, a 32 versus a 34.5. All right. And the last measurement's the hips. The fullest part of your hips, where the biggest part of your butt, your booty, your ass, okay? All right, so you want to take that measurement, the fullest part of your butt. Now, I have jeans on, but you want to take these measurements where you have some Spanx on or whatnot, right? Now, I know mine's is going to say a 44, right? That is my hip measurement. It used to be a 49. Yes, I know. It went down 5 inches. So mine is a 44. With these jeans on, it's going to tell me a 46, but I know it's a 44, okay? So that's the measurement that I would take as a 44. Now, because I just told you all my measurements, I'm making a pair of shorts. So what I would use is a 34.5 for my waist and a 44 for my hips. Now, when I go to the pattern, you may be asking, well, Rochelle, when you get to the pattern, what are you going to be using in order to get a good fit on your shorts or your pants or whatnot? First of all, when it comes to the waist, I'm going to enlarge that by 1 inch to give me room to where I'm not like tight or squeezing in my waistband, right? So I'm going to be looking for anything that says a 35.5. When it comes to the hips, I want at least 1.5 inches to 2 inches of ease. So I'm going to be looking for anything that says a 46-inch hip. So my waist, finished garment measurement, I'm going to be looking for anything that says a 35.5. And I'm going to be looking for a hip that says anything that's a 46. That gives me 2 inches of ease for the hips and an inch, minimum inch for the waist. Now, if you need more because you have like a little tush at the stomach area, I would say go up to about 1.5 inches to no more than 2 inches of ease in the waist. All right. All right. So let me look at the chat a little bit because I know I said a lot. All right. Yep. I understand that, Millie. Hey, Arva. All right. So I said a lot. Now, comment off in the chat. Do you check your finished garment measurement on the pattern before you get started sewing? Or do you pick your pattern, right? Don't look at the finished garment measurement. pick your pattern, and then decide your finished garment measurement. Type finished garment measurement, or just type finished garment or pattern. If you look at the pattern first and pick your pattern based off of the pattern size first, or do you look at the finished garment measurement first before you pick the pattern? Let me know in a comment or the chat. Yep. I'm with Mom. Finished garment. Look at those, like when you are looking to purchase a pattern, first thing you want to do is look at the finished garment measurement. And the reason why is because I don't know how many times I did this earlier on when I was purchasing patterns. I used to think I needed all the big sizes, right? If it said 16 through 24, I figured I needed it because I just always needed the bigger size. What I realized, you need a size 12. But guess what? Because you also thought that you needed a bigger size, now you have to go and buy the smaller size because the finished garment measurement that you actually need is a size 12. Check the finished garment measurement before you purchase your pattern. All right? All right, moving on. Let's talk about choosing your size. Pattern size versus store size. Now, there's a community post that I'm going to post probably by Sunday about this because this is one of the things that I just got asked 3 times this week, right? About pattern ease versus, or I should say pattern sizes versus ready to wear, right? So I'm going to say go by the measurements, not by the number, okay? Finished garment measurement, ease, matter, and blend the sizes are normal, all right? So one thing I'm going to mention is you are not married to one size. Now, I am married to one. My daughter laughed at that, right? Okay, but in the sake of patterns, right, and in the sake of sewing, all right, you can date multiple sizes, okay, and blend them peacefully. So I just want to say, you can date multiple. In the case of sewing, okay, you do not have to just date one size. You do not have to be married to one size, okay? So blend, top could be one. If you are that person who cuts one size and think that you are a square or a rectangle from top to bottom, I am here to tell you, you are not, okay? I'm sorry to tell you that, but that's the truth. That you are not the same size from top to bottom. And it's very rare that you could cut one size and never have to blend your sizes together. Okay? It's very rare. Maybe if it was something boxy, like a top that's really gonna fall away from your body or a caftan or something like that, you may get away with cutting one size. But half of the time, or I should say 90% of the time, you're gonna have to be willing, if you want a good fit, to blend your sizes, all right? So if you are a person, engagement time, if you are a person who always have to blend your sizes when you are sewing a pattern together, go ahead and type blend in the chat. If you are a person who normally can fit into one size, type in one size or OSZ for one size fit all. Go ahead and type it in the chat. Yes, Mo, something that's oversized, you could definitely get away with. Thank you. Thank you. So for me, no matter what size, what pattern, about 95% of the time I am blending sizes constantly. It's very rare where I'm going to sew one size, period. All right? Yeah. Mostly everyone in the chat is blend the sizes together.
You know I love you when I give you no rest for the fabulous.
Thank you, baby. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about check finish garment measurement, which I kind of already talked about this. I kind of jumped a little bit. Ease is everything. You have different type of ease. You have the wearing ease of how it's going to fit. You have the design ease, the amount of ease that's in a pattern. You need to read the chart. And I'll share this a little bit with you. I am using this as a guide, which is this butterick pattern that everybody's been saying that I've been selling the hell out of because you guys have seen 3 out of the 4 tops. I'm going to actually share this on the table with you guys when I talk about the body measurements compared to the pattern. Only because the Vicky Sew pattern that I am using, there's some things that I'm going to talk about when I get over to the table. All right, but check your finished garment measurements is all I could say there. Before children. All right, let's talk about fabric layout. All right. All right, fabric layout. Couple of things you want to do is check the lengthening, shortening line. That's one thing that a lot of people do not check. There's a line on your paper tissue, even your PDF. There's a lengthening, shortening line. Check the full bust line, you know, the little circles. Check the bust line, the hip line, the waistline. Also, if you need to do a sway back, do not be afraid to do a sway back. Do not forget to do the slash and spread method. Do not be afraid to adjust your patterns to fit you. Okay? That's why we sew. So do not be afraid to try new things and adjust your patterns to fit you. We talked about that in the last live, that adjust the instructions to mirror what you need. Adjust your patterns to fit you. That's why you sew. All right? All right, moving over to next. Fabric layout and adjustments. All right, when you cut, but some people don't. Some people cut off grain or cross grain, I should call it, right? You also want to follow the layout guide. What that means, just to give you kind of like an idea, this is the layout. Now, even though the layout is a guide of how you should be cutting out your pattern pieces, it is not the ends of all means, okay? It's just a guide as a template to help you cut it out. Do you have to follow it? Absolutely not. However, when you don't follow it, 9 times out of 10, you're going to waste a lot of fabric trying to play Tetris, you know, with your pattern pieces. Now, do I follow now, if you ask me, do I follow the layout guide? Yeah, pretty much. And it saves me so much fabric in doing so. All right. So even if you are doing pretty much directional prints or prints that have I'm going to say that needs to be matched, make sure you are cutting 1 layer instead of 2. All right. But yeah, make sure you test the fabric layouts too. Speaking of cutting single layer versus folding the fabric, right? I'm going to say the difference between cutting in a single layer versus folding the fabric to do a double layer cut, just 1 cut, right? If you fold it in half to cut 2 instead of just 1 at a time, Folding it so you could do a double cut or cut two at once is faster. But if you cut single layer or one out at a time, it's slower, but it's more accurate. So it just depends on what you need at that time. All right. Now let's talk about pinning and weights. All right. So I don't have my pins over here, but you want to have something to secure your cuts. Yes, Millie, that's a good call out. If when you cut a single layer, it does save you fabric because you know where to place them compared to cutting a double layer. Sometimes it shifts and things of that nature, especially if you are using knit. Sometimes you can cut a little off if it shifts on you. Or if you're using a chiffon fabric, a rayon fabric. Sometimes you could get off a little bit if your fabric shifts, okay? Which brings me into pinning and weights, okay? So if you are using knits or leather or even denim, it's best to use pens, okay? These nice, lovely, not pins, clips, clips, not pins. It's best to use clips because when you use clips, it keeps the fabric together. I know a lot of people, I know me, I use pattern weights, right? I use Raven's pattern weights. Sometimes I use washers. Sometimes I use my husband's fraternity coins. I use a lot of different things depending on how heavy I need it to stay in place. Now, I started off pinning all of my pattern pieces to the fabric. Do I go back to it? No, I don't. But that is the most accurate way of pinning to make sure you get accuracy. It's best to pin if I'm telling you right, if you want to know the right way and the best way, right? You want to pin your pattern pieces to your fabric. That's pretty much the most accurate way that you can get. All right. But it's up to you. Okay. All right. Moving along. Marking transfers. Do not skip this. This is how many of you can go wrong. We forget to transfer our darts. We forget to transfer our dots. We forget to transfer our notches. And then when it comes time for sewing, things are not matching up. So make sure you transfer all your dots. And you guys hear me say this in so many sew-alongs. Now don't forget to transfer your markings. Don't forget to transfer all your dots, your notches, and your darts. So make sure you are transferring all of those so there are no issues when it comes time to sew your items together. Now, if you forget these things, type in fix it first. If you have forgotten to do some of these things and you ended up with a mixed match, go ahead and type in fix it first in the chat. Waste a lot of fabric. All right, so cutting techniques. Hold up. All right, so on the cutting technique, first of all, when you're cutting, Don't try to rush through your cutting process. It's slow and steady. And when you cut, now I use rotary cutter when I cut my, well, pretty much when I cut my paper pattern as well as my fabric, I use my rotary cutter, okay? But if I was to use the scissors, because you guys know I started off with scissors before I switched over to the rotary cutter, make long, smooth cuts, okay? Don't do this. No. Long, smooth cuts, okay? Long, smooth cuts, long, smooth cuts. And keep, you probably can't see this, let me scoot back a little bit. Keep your this is the table, right? Keep your scissors on the table. Do not lift it up and try to do this. Keep it on the table and cut. Follow it through, all right? Not the fish bites. Not the fish bites. Long, smooth cuts. Because when you make the fish bites like that, Millie, one thing you'll notice is you'll have so many fish bites to the point where you can easily get off on the fish bites. So try to do long, smooth cuts, like longer cuts to where, what I mean by that, I don't want to cut this. I'm going to cut into, let me use a different one. Let me use my paper scissors. I don't want to use my, oh, and by the way, don't use paper scissors on fabric, okay? Paper scissors. What I mean by that, I'm going to take one of these napkins that my daughter gave me, right? When I say long, smooth cut paper, you see how I have the napkin all the way to this part right here? Right? All the way in, all the way to the bottom. And you just go all the way down one time. You see how I cut all the way up here? Just in one cut. Now, if you was to take that little fish bite cut, you'll be cutting forever. Look. You see how long that's taking me? Instead of just one long cut. All right? Long, smooth cut. That's all you need. All right? All right. I love the demo. All right. Let me put that scissors back up. All right. So I did mention don't lift your fabric. You don't want to lift your arm. Because when you lift your arm, you're going to lift your fabric up, which is going to cause like a little jaggy cut. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep it as flat as possible, like I mentioned, like this. And you also want your scissors and your rotary cutter, any blade or whatever, you want it to be sharp. So one thing that I do after about 2 projects, I tend to resharpen my scissors and my rotary cutter. Now, after about 2 projects, I change out my blade on the rotary cutter that I use. Every 2 projects, I change out the blade of the rotary cutter because after about, all I do is I take the blade that I use for my garment and put it in the blade for my paper. Now, for paper, that thing goes until I feel like it's dull. You know, probably a good 20-something pages of paper. Then I'll switch it out. But until then, I have so many of these little, I don't know how many I have that I can use for paper at this point, right? But you need to change out your blades after about 2 to 3 projects for your rotary cutter, and your scissors need to be sharpened quite often too. It depends on how much you sew, but I tend to sharpen my scissors after about 2 to 3 projects. All right. Get frustrated. Yes, if you line up your scissor tips, it does help stay on the line. Yes. Sandy, I am with you on that. But that's just a couple of cutting techniques and cutting tips that I can give you. All right, double check before your final cut. So let's pause for a moment. You want to cut the correct size. You want to correct the pieces that you're going to cut, and you want to correct the fabric side that you're going to cut. Let me explain. All right. Number one, when I say correct size, all right, you want to check from the back of the pattern envelope, or if you're doing a PDF, you want to check the finished garment measurement to make sure you are selecting the right size and you're going to be cutting the right size. That's exactly what I mean by correct size. All right. When I talk about correct pieces, if you go to on this pattern, now this is just a demonstration right here. No, wait, I'm going in the wrong direction. Right here. Come a little closer. Right? It would be the instructions, right? You want to check the pieces that you're going to be cutting according to the pattern instructions, right? Now, we talked about this on the last live. I tend to highlight my instructions, write all over my instructions because I make it useful for me, right? So I like to highlight the pattern pieces that I'm going to be using for whatever garment that I'm making. In this case, I used every last pattern piece because I sewed 4 tops, right? Well, 3 so far. 1 is almost done. You guys will see that here shortly. I might sneak peek. I might sneak peek the fabric. Nah, I won't. But I highlight that, all right? And then when I say correct fabric side, you need to check what part of the fabric is the right side and the wrong side. You guys know, you guys have seen so many of my sew along, I always mark the wrong side of my fabric. Especially if it has a side that you don't know which one is the right and the wrong side because it looks the same on both sides. It's easy to just put an X so you know what side is the right side versus the wrong side. All right? It makes it that much easier. Ooh, Millie. Okay, when's your birthday? And we know when Christmas is. When your birthday, you have to purchase one of these. Okay? It's by Friskers. It's about $8. And all you got to do baby, after about 10, it's sharp. Good to go. That was less than 2 minutes, baby. But you gotta have some sharpened scissors. Okay? You gotta have some sharpened scissors. Gotta have some sharpened scissors. Because those scissors not gonna do nothing, baby. Nothing. Ooh, okay. That's different. That's different. All right. Let's talk about what you should have done at the end of this week. And then I'm going to go over to the table. All right. So at the end of this week, not fall apart. Orange. Mo, you know what? My husband ordered this. I think he got it from Amazon. Mo, I'll ask him and put it in the chat. I'll ask him and put it in the chat. But I think he purchased it from Amazon. If it wasn't Amazon, nah. I think he got it from Amazon. And I think he got it from Amazon because I believe I got it for Christmas or my birthday. It was one or the other. Him and the kids got it. I think it was Amazon. I think. I'll ask baby girl or the hub. I think it was Amazon. I'll put it in the comment section underneath this video once the live is done, or I'll put it in the chat. If I could, I'll put it in the comment the description, so you guys could have the link to it. Once I go back and find it, I'll have him find it so you guys could have the link to this. All right. And I mean, like, you just open up the package and it comes like this. There's no extra pieces or anything. And it's just like super simple and easy to sharpen your scissors. Okay. Oh, no worries. No worries. Mo, y'all know the hubby spoiling the mess out of me. Look, threads and everything. All right. That's why he be talking mad noise over here all the time. He gets the bypass because of that. Don't let him hear me say that. Y'all know he be in here clowning me, right? All right. Tell y'all there's never a dull moment in my household. All right. What you should have done by the end of week 5. Week 5 checklist. Have your body measurements completed. Have your pattern cut and transfer any of your markings. So this week you're not cutting fabric. We are almost there. Fabric is next week. You should have your pattern. No, you should have your pattern cut, not your fabric. Okay. Because next week is making pattern adjustments and cutting your fabric. Making pattern adjustments and cutting your muslin, not your fabric, your muslin. If your muslin fit, then go ahead and cut your fabric. If you're not making a muslin, go ahead and cut your fabric. But next week, I'm saying next week, you're next week, but I won't be here next week. So 2 weeks from now, we will be doing pattern adjustments and muslin. Now, if you don't want to do a muslin, you do not have to, but I will be sharing my process of pattern adjustments and making a mock-up toile, whatever, right? What they call them, toile in England? How do they say it, toile? I'm just going to say muslin because it makes sense for me to say muslin, mock-up, a test garment, you know? Yeah, those things. But we're going to make a wearable muslin. And actually, I was thinking of doing Bermuda shorts to be able to wear them to work. But then I got thinking, I was like, what the hell? I want my legs to show because, I mean, like, when you got some fly-ass legs, I mean, like, why not let them show, right? Plus, I don't always want to wear sew something for work. So I'm going to let them be shorts and not extend them into Bermuda shorts because I do have a pattern that's a Bermuda shorts that I could just use. So this one, for the sake of this one being my first Vicky Sew pattern to sew, I don't want to extend them. I'm just going to do it as is if I like it because I don't want to put all that time into a pattern that I could and could not like. So I want to do this one as is, no modification first. If I like the pattern, then I will extend it and make it Bermuda shorts as a second option at a different time. That's what I think I'm going to do. Yes, Millie. We wear short shorts in the summertime. Yeah. Yes, instant gratification. Lady Angel said twirl. I'm getting ready to call it twirl. Let me stop. All right, so that's what we should have done by the end of week 5. So what's next before I get over to my cutting table? So week 6, now I'm just going to say this. Week 6 is not happening next week. Now, if you want to go ahead and get a head start on your week 6, just know you are making pattern adjustments next week. If you want to hold off, you can and wait for me the week after. You can. It's just I won't be in town next Friday, okay? I will resume, which would be the week after, which is the day before Valentine's Day. I will resume the live that day. I know normally, and I'm going to be honest, I was going to be in town next Friday and take the day before Valentine's Day off. However, Friday I will be driving going towards the funeral. I did not share this, but I know about 2 weeks ago I did mention that I had a family emergency. I did. And my father-in-law passed away a couple of weeks ago. So the funeral is happening next week. So that's why we're traveling for that. So that's what we're doing. And I will not be in town next week, but I will resume the live the week after. All right. But I will be doing pattern adjustments. So, yeah, Millie, I know it just happened all out of sudden, but we are right now. It's been 2 weeks now. Thank you, guys. I just didn't share everything 2 weeks ago because it was still like all new and still all of a sudden. But, I mean, we doing better than we were 2 weeks ago. So, pattern adjustments is coming up in 2 weeks. Let's go ahead and get on over to the table. Let's do some, what we gonna do? I did the measurements. So now I'm going to share how I'm going to take those measurements that I took earlier and look at them against my pattern. Now, what I'm going to say is like I did mine on Vicky Sew pattern. The only thing, I'm going to share it at the table with the Vicky Sew first, but then I'm going to switch over to another pattern simply because I already did mine for Vicky Sew, but I want to share with you guys kind of like on a different pattern how I go about doing some of these things, okay? So let's go ahead and get on over to the table real quick. Thank you guys so much for your condolences as well. I appreciate it. My husband appreciated it as well because it was his father. So we appreciate it, you guys. So let's go ahead and get over to the table and let's get started. All right, so let's switch. Ignore my food on my table. I'm going to go eat, y'all. We still eating over here. All right, let me clear my throat. Give me some water. All right, so as you guys know, I keep all of my projects in a project bag. I have mentioned this a couple of years ago. I did write a note to put this in the description box because someone asked me this on the last live. Where do I get these bags from? Amazon, y'all. Amazon. You get a bundle of, I believe, 12 different colors. You get it in like blue, red, black, green, pink. I think I got like a pink one, yellow, different colors, but you get 12 of these bags. And they hold pretty much a lot of stuff in them too. So it just keeps all my projects together. I love them, y'all. I love them. All right, so first I'm going to start off with my Vicky Sew. I'm still reading the chat, y'all. Now, first things first, I'm going to talk about this thick package called the instructions, right? Okay, look, I was warning you guys on how detailed these instructions are. I'm not going to lie. These instructions are very, very detailed, okay? Now, we talk about how the Big Four do instructions are, sometimes it's just kind of like, what the heck is going on with the Big Four, right? It have you scratching your head like, I don't understand these instructions. But on Vicky Sews, the instructions, now I'm not going to lie, I have not read every last instructions yet because your girl's been busy, okay? I got halfway through the instructions. I think I stopped at page 18. Yeah, on the instructions, page 18, about the pockets or whatever. And I still have the other ones to read, which I'll be reading it on the road when I'm not the one driving. So, with that being said, it's a lot of pages and it is very detailed. I will say one thing that I do like about this pattern so far, it's very detailed. I don't think I'm going to get lost in the sauce whatsoever. So that's a good plus so far when it comes to the instructions. Now, you may talk about how thick this packet is, but I would say I like the fact that it's detailed instead of not detailed enough like the Big Four. So that's a plus so far in my book. I have not had anything so far with the Vicky Sew patterns that I have worked on thus far, which is this is the first Vicky Sew pattern that I am running into any difficulties just yet. All right, so far I have been having a good experience with this Vicky Sew pattern. Okay, moving along. All right, so first things first, let's talk about. We already talked about the layout in the last episode or last live. For this one, this is page 8. The seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, which means in most cases, like for the big four, big five, whichever one you want to call it, they normally do 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. Now I'm going to get my highlighter so you can see this. I did dim my lights here. I dim my lights so it's not bright on the table. But if I need to turn them up, let me know. Okay. And I'm going to highlight this. Now, if you notice the line around this, that is actually the seam allowance. What really needs to be cut is this line right here that I'm highlighting. Okay. That is actually the cutting line. The other part around it is actually the seam allowance. That is not where I need to cut. Where I need to cut is the line that's highlighted, which is actually the cutting line. Now, you probably can't see this on camera, so let me bring it up just a little bit so you're able to see that. Okay? That's what I need to cut. So anything around this portion is actually the seam allowance. All right. Another thing that I'll show you, just for instance, like the side seam. Let me show you another piece. All right. So I have the right front waistband right here. Okay. So if you look at the right front waistband, you'll see that I have a line right here at the side seam. All right, let me focus it for a second. All right, you see that line? All right. Now, this line right here that I'm sharing with you guys, that's how much I have to take off from the side seam. So this line, let me highlight it. All right. So this is the side seam that's highlighted in yellow. All right. The line that you see right here, that's how much that I have to take in from the side seam, which is a 1/2 inch. If you multiply that by 2, that's a whole inch. That's 1 inch that I have to take in from the side seam just on the right front. I have to do the same thing on the left front. Which is right here. And then I have to do the same thing on the back pattern piece. Now, I know you're probably asking, why do you have to take it in for the front, the left front, the right front, and the back? Okay? Whatever you do because I need to take off 4 inches, I have to divide that between the front pieces and the back pattern pieces, right? So, if you think about it, I have 4 sides. I have 2 in the front and 2 in the back. And when you look at it, you're probably saying, how do you see 4 side seams, right? Let me answer the chat for you guys. Yes, Mo, the seam allowance is already there. Okay? So, when you have, so there's four seams, okay? So you have one on the front, the right front waistband side seam. So if you look at it, you have a right front and a left front, okay? Let me show you the pattern. It's kind of, maybe if you have a visual, you could understand what I'm saying, okay? So right here, the pattern, right? You have this front. If you think right here, this is the side seam, and this is the side seam, all right? This one right here, like I said, I draw on my, instructions, okay? This piece right here is your right waistband. Okay? This piece right here is your left waistband. Okay? And then what you cannot see, which I'm going to show you right here, right? What I just highlighted right there on the back, that's your back waistband. So right here, you have a side seam and a side seam, which means 2 side seams. So on that back side seam, that back waistband, it's cut on the fold, okay? This is the fold line right here. So if you think about it, you fold it, you have 2 side seams. So when you place it on the fold, it's going to be on the fold. So just think of it as folded like this, right? When you unfold it, you're going to have 2 side seams, one there and one there. Okay? So you have 2 side seams. All right? So you have to divide that 4 inches that you need between 4 side seams. So you would well, in my case, I would have to take a 1/2 inch off of each side seams. All right? So I'm saying if I needed 4 inches, I have to take an inch here. I'm sorry, not a 1/2 inch, but an inch here, an inch here. That's the right front, left front. That would make 2 inches. And then the back needs to have 2 inches for the circumference to be 4, which means because this is folded in half, I only need to do 1 inch here to where when it's on both sides, it'll be 2 inches. For a circumference means all the way around, of 4 inches. All right? I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that made sense. In the comment section below, let me know if that makes sense. Say, got it, or need more clarification. Let me know. All right, so I'm going to put the Vicky Sew pattern up because this portion of my work is done, and I'm going to move over to a top real quick just to kind of show you how I take my measurement and transfer it to pattern. All right, so I'm gonna do one more demo. All right, so this demo right here is the blouse that you guys have been seeing over and over and over again this week and last week, which is Butterick 7071. You guys will see the last blouse, which I'm debating on if I want to make covered buttons or not, or just use regular buttons for this blouse. We'll see. Now, the only thing that I need would be the front and back pattern pieces, right? So all the rest of the pattern pieces, I'm gonna move out of the way. I don't need any of that jazz. I just need the front pattern piece, which is pattern piece number 6. And the back pattern piece, whatever pattern piece that would be, I think that's pattern piece number 1. But I have it over with the fabric that I'm using. So I'm just gonna demonstrate on pattern piece number 1. I'm sorry, pattern piece number 6, all right? So I did mention that my bust, my under bust, I'm just gonna write UB for under bust, was 41.5. All right. I'm hoping you guys could see me write this on the paper. Okay. I'm writing it on the paper. And then my full bust, I'm gonna write FB for full bust, is 43.5, which makes 2 inches between the upper bust and the full bust. Okay. What I need is a 45. What I want is 1.5 inches of ease, which gives me a 45 inches. What I want for my finished bust measurement. All right. So for this pattern, it shows that the finished bust measurement is a 45. Now, I like to validate that that's true. And how I validate if that's true is I measure the pattern pieces across. And you may ask, Rochelle, what do you mean measure the pattern piece across? Now, what I'm not going to do is measure this portion that says center front. Why? Because it's going to be folded onto itself like this. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this in like this. This is a little trick that you can do when you are trying to figure out if it's going to be too big, too small, what have you, right? All right, so this is where the circle is. All right, let me, if I need to zoom it down just a little bit. All right, right here. And what I do is I take my tape measure and I go across, all the way across to the center front. And this is about 11 5/8. So what I do is I write 11 5/8, 11 5/8, which is the same as saying 11.625. And because you're going to have 2, where it says cut 2, you're going to have a right front and a left front. I'm going to multiply that by 2 because I'm going to have 2 pieces, a left front and a right front. All right, let me get my calculator out. So I'm going to take that 11.625, right? And I'm going to multiply it by 2. Okay, and that gives me 23.25. Now, for this pattern, the seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So I'm going to take 5 divided by 8, which is 0.625. And because we have two side seams, we have the center front seam, which is going to be 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. And the side seam is 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. That's going to be enclosed. So we have to remove that 5/8 of an inch seam allowance from the side seam and the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance from the center front. Okay? So 0.625 times 2 is 1.25, which is 1 1/4. So we're going to remove the 1.25, which gives me 23.25 minus 1.25 is 22. Okay? So just on the two front pieces, right? That's the left front and the right front, we get a total of 22. Now, that means that if I want the circumference of the bust to get a good fit, I need my back pattern piece to be a 23, okay? Now, of course, I don't have my back pattern piece right here, but let's just say that it is 23. That means that the bust is going to fit perfectly. I don't need to size it up or anything. It fits perfectly. I don't need to do anything. That's the fit that I want. So I would just go down to the waist measurement right here and do the exact same thing. Now, for my waist, I know my waist. Now, right here, this waistline right here is not going to be my tummy area. Needs to be the natural waist area, okay? And one thing that I want to mention when you do this portion is take where your bust line is and measure down to where that waistline is. For me, it's 7.5, right? Now I'm going to switch cameras just real quick just to show you this, all right? All right, so what you would do, that 7.5, you would take from your bust at your nipple or your APEC, right? And go down that 7.5, right? And see where it hits. For me, it's my natural waist, okay? So on the pattern, just know that that waistline is your natural waist, just like I said, all right? Let's go back to the table. All right, so for that 7.5 is natural waist. So just know that this line right here, the waistline, would be at your natural waist. All right, this waistline, I'm just going to write a note and just put natural. Natural waist. So if my natural waist is the 32, I know that I want at least an inch to an inch and a half, no more than 2 inches of ease for it to be nice. Now, more ease is perfectly fine, but you don't want too much ease, but you don't want it to be tight either. Just in case I want to eat it a little bit, I'm fine with 2 inches or just a tad bit more of maybe 3 inches. I think right at about 4 or 5 inches, it's going to be too much. All right. Now for this one, it says that it's 36.5 is the finished garment measurement when the entire circumference is going to be put together. That kind of scares me just a little bit. But just remember that I said at my belly button is 34.5 inch. Now, my natural waist is 32. My belly button is 34. Now, because at my belly button is 34, I'm going to use this 34.5 because it's a little bit bigger. So if it's a 36.5, that's 2 inches of ease. And I'm fine with that. So what I'll do is I'll just measure across, just like we did for the bust. Measure across. I get a little under 11. Right at about 10 7/8, give or take. But I'm just going to put 11, all right? Because if you cut it, it'll be about 11. All right, so I'm going to put 11, multiply that by 2 because you have 2 front pieces, which gives you 22. And then the seam allowance is 5/8 and 5/8, which we came out to be 1.25. And I'm going to take that 22 minus the 1.25 for the seam allowance and get 20.75. All right. And then let's just say that the back ended up being 16, which gives me 36.5, which means that this is going to fit perfectly, which you guys have already seen 3 tops. So you guys already know that it fits perfectly. But that's how you would actually figure out what sides you would cut and if it's going to fit and how you get a good fit. All right. All right, you guys. So there we have it. All right. How are we feeling today? It was a lot of information, I know. So I hope that this week gave you insight into cutting, measuring, how to take your measurements and transfer those measurements from your body measurement to the pattern envelope, how to determine what sides to cut, how to figure out how much ease you need to get a good fit. So I hope that the tips that I gave you was very helpful. And now you have some tips, some tricks, and some more information into how to get a good fit and what to look for when you are picking your next project and sewing up your next project as well. Millie, definitely rewatch because I know it's a lot of information, and when you go back and watch the replay, it's probably something that you didn't hear the first time, that when you hear it the second time, it'll click and make more sense as well. All right. All right. Well, that's it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this quick live. I'm saying that it's quick, but it seemed like it wasn't quick, but I know it was a lot of information, you guys. Hey, Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. So that's it for the live. I will catch you guys in about 2 weeks. I do have a lot of videos that I will be posting during the time that I am away. I'm only away for a few days, you guys, so don't miss me too much, but I'll be back. I'll be back, you guys. So take care. I don't know what I have coming up this weekend. I don't know what I have coming up this weekend because I still got a video to edit. I don't even know if it's going to be edited by tomorrow. I'm just going to be honest with you. But that's it for this video. I will talk to you guys in the next one. I'm going to play the outro music. And you guys take care. And I'll catch you guys in the next live in 2 weeks. Talk to you soon. Peace.
They hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way up, way too fly, yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard
for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Water all blood like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. Oh. I ain't make it this far for myself, I had to go. They hate when you elevate. You stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you